Alright, so since this game technically released before Steel Cage Challenge, we have to tackle it first. This is WWF Superstars 2 for the Game Boy, programmed by Sculptured Software. Told you you had to get used to hearing that name. So, this is another simple Game Boy wrestling game, but it is worth noting for a couple of reasons. The cage match is introduced here, and we'll get to that in another mode. For now, let's do a typical one-on-one match to sort of establish just what this game is. Roster: Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Sid Justice, Jake the Snake, The Undertaker, and the reason you're all here. Worth noting, this was released in 1992. The Mountie didn't last much longer after that. So you pick your characters, CPU randomly chooses your opponent, and you're off to the races. Musical intros to each wrestler are kind of like 15-second loops, with the exception of the Mountie, who is a 30-second loop. You gotta get the whole song in there, and we will. So, controls are basic. A button is punch, B button is kick. There are grapples, but it feels like you have to try a little bit harder to get them. So, when we get down and dirty with the game's belt mode, there's not going to be much time. Like, it's basic standard stuff. The heavy kick actually moves you forward, keeping aggression going. So there is one other thing you can do. When you press the select button, you can have a large increase in your health as sort of like using a random power-up. The CPU can do this too. It does draw out matches a bit. Alright. Yeah, you can throw your opponent against the ropes, and now I can just stomp them endlessly. There aren't any finishing moves, so every wrestler plays exactly the same. And yeah, this is just going to be a bit of a kick fest. Not exactly confident in my grapple victories, and kick is such a good aggressive move because, again, it moves you forward, and when your opponent's at the corner, there's very little they can do to stop you. So it's a fast-paced wrestling game, but it is, again, yet another punch-and-kick affair that you've come to expect from the platform. Now then, let's get to Belt Mode, aka Tournament. You probably know the deal by now, you versus the world. And you can have every match in a cage match. Your own personal TNA lockdown, about a decade and change before that became commonplace. And you can never hide, 'cause the Mountie always gets his man. Of course we're picking the Mountie. Of course we're doing that. One of the few wrestling gimmicks that was actually banned from Canada. Like, he was never at any Canadian events or house shows. He was always Jacques Rougeau, which makes the NXT TakeOver Toronto entrance of, well, he shall not be named, all the more awkward. So, cage match has its own unique defined rules. You can beat your opponent by pinfall or by escaping the cage, and apparently, escaping the cage means sitting atop the cage. Seeing as we can't establish any difficulty, the CPU is at its absolute hardest. Giggity. So I'm going to use every dirty trick in the book just to gain momentum. And you ain't winning any grapples anytime soon, unless you really hammer that button. Like I'm doing right now. All right. When you're losing the old punch and kick ward to a punch, just move upward and restart your offense. You're more than likely to get back whatever momentum you had. Assuming the wrestlers don't overlap. You can roll on the ground if you are knocked down. Alright, thing about this is, you can climb to the top of the cage, but you have to be up there for 3 rings of the bell. And as you start climbing up the ranks, it's better to just pin your opponent. No, I'm never gonna get tired of hearing this theme. At least the wrestlers resemble themselves? Oh, I ran right into that. So yeah, press the A button to get up off the ground as fast as you can. It'll be harder to do as your health deteriorates. Give it up! Give it up! So you can get so many stomps, it doesn't feel worth using the elbow drop, because there's always a risk you'll get knocked down. Like, this is dominant strategy defined, but hey, I'll take it. The journey ahead is only gonna get more difficult. There we are. I do love the cool, muscly pose where they're standing atop the cage. Nope, never gonna get tired of it. So yeah, you do have run if you press A and B together, but not really worth it to use in the cage. You have a drop kick that can be telegraphed from miles away, and that's about it. It'll still be a good knockdown, but I don't know. It doesn't feel worth the investment. I can just keep this going. It's great. Yeah. I can kind of understand the replenish health, because otherwise matches would be a lot quicker. Right. don't know what happened there. I hardly did any interaction to... Might as well try. Oh, 2. Yeah, no matter where you are on the cage, if you are climbing, the second your opponent gets up, you magically fall off the cage. So it's less an escape and more a greater pin attempt. But yeah, with a game like this, it's what you've come to expect from Game Boy. I don't think I like this compared to Superstars 1. Superstars 1 was a little better in presentation. Like, it's nice having no music to listen to in your wrestling game, but then again, we just went through that in Super WrestleMania. I don't know, I kind of like that. Take him while he's down. Yeah, you could just kick them right into the corner. Yep, 2 rings. Alright, for Random Championship. I assume the Intercontinental Championship. This is not a WWF Championship match. Alright. Take us on to my tactics. It's been studying the tape. Alright, can't get in the corner. That's the last place you want to be. Oh, this is just not my best match. I expected a tough one, considering it's for a nondescript belt. We're just gonna have to kick you in the corner. And if you get hit, it's your own fault. I know. Don't want to be in the corner. Get out of the way. Back up. You're off the cage. I will say, control-wise, everything kind of functions. I hesitated. I was thinking about pitting him, and, well... Thankfully, you get a rematch option. So let's say we make it count. The running punch is just so hard to, like, anticipate. Yep, so long as you're rolling on the ground, you ain't getting hit by that elbow drop. Like, the controls work, it's the hits that feel off. There we go. I want the elbow drop. Never want the elbow drop. And this is especially tough. Burst into the corner. Not good. I think the CPU's playing dirty. It's not registering and all. I really should just exclusively B button today. I will drag you across the ring if I have to. We'll go coast to coast. Okay, even up, so... Yeah. Alright, I'm not going to take any chances. I can pin him in the cage match. I don't necessarily have to climb out. Because even when he has no health, he can still get up off the ground. You're better off just pinning him and winning. Alright, second time's the charm. A sight you don't see every day. I know he was Intercontinental Champion, but it's just... That's very much a big championship for one of Canada's finest. And that is Superstars 2 for the Game Boy. A decent wrestler, a decent wrestling game as well, but it could be a lot better. It's simplistic, which is what you expect from Game Boy, but presentation's not as strong, and even then, you'll get a better version of this game on NES. Slightly better, but better nonetheless.